I stood in the wreckage, the sirens blurred into the night, red and blue flooding the wreckage. I stood still. Broken glass crunched beneath my shoes. Smoke curled from the hood of the car, mixing with the metallic sting of gasoline and blood. Your wife is conscious, but your son... The paramedic hesitated. It's serious. I nodded. No words. My eyes moved to the twisted frame, to the scattered belongings across the asphalt. A shoe, a doll, a backpack. I reached for it. My fingers shook, though my face remained calm. The zipper resisted, then gave way. Inside, books, papers, a half-eaten snack. And then, slipped between the folds of homework, something small, red, a folded note, bloody at the corner. My son's handwriting, uneven but urgent. Dad, the real reason Mommy... I froze. My pulse slowed, not quickened. A strange stillness consumed me. I unfolded the page fully. The next line hollowed out my chest. I looked at my wife, sitting on the curb with a blanket around her shoulders, speaking quietly to the police. Her voice trembled, not from the crash, from something deeper. I dialed the cops again, not the ones here, different ones. The kind you call when what you read is not an accident, but evidence. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and fear. Machines beeped. My son lay motionless, tubes running from his small body. My wife sat beside him, stroking his hair. Her hand trembled. Her face, pale, guilty. I didn't speak. Her eyes flicked to me, searching for comfort, maybe forgiveness. She would find neither. That note burned inside my pocket. Dad, the real reason Mommy. He had seen something, written something a child shouldn't. His words, unfinished, cut short by the crash. But I knew. She had secrets. I had felt it for months. A new coldness in her eyes. Laughter that didn't reach me anymore. Late nights explained by excuses too fragile to hold. I told myself it was stress, work, marriage fatigue. But deep inside, I'd already buried the truth. Now my son had dug it up. I walked to the window, staring at the city lights. Each flicker seemed to whisper what I already feared. She was living two lives, one with me, one with someone else. And fate had ripped it open, not gently, but violently, under twisted steel and flashing sirens. The days blurred into strategy. I played the role of the dutiful husband, calm, supportive. I drove her home, made her tea, kissed her forehead. But beneath the surface, I counted every breath she took, every message on her phone, every unexplained smile. I set traps quietly. A DNA kit hidden in the lining of my coat. A spare phone with recording software slipped under the seat of her car. A tracker in her purse, disguised as a keychain. At night, when she slept, I opened her phone. She had become cautious, deleted threads, hidden folders. But ghosts remain in digital shadows. I found fragments, messages unsaved, numbers unrecognized, a pattern forming. Always at odd hours, always when I wasn't there. The backpack note haunted me. Dad, the real reason Mommy. What had my son seen? Her meeting someone? Her hand brushing against another man's? Or worse, the truth about him? About his blood? About the lie that had lived inside my home all these years? I stared at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, razor in hand. The face that looked back wasn't angry. It was patient, calculated. A mask stretched perfectly over the storm. I could wait, because waiting was the sharpest blade. The results arrived 2 weeks later. The DNA test. A plain envelope, clinical in its weight. I sat alone in the kitchen, the house silent. I tore it open slowly, savoring the moment like a surgeon before the first incision. The truth cut clean. My son was not mine. The words etched themselves into me with surgical precision, cold, undeniable, merciless. I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I simply folded the paper back into the envelope, slid it into my pocket, and waited for her return. When she walked in, arms full of groceries, I sat at the table, watching her. She smiled, distracted. "Could you help me with—" I slid the envelope across the wood. Her hands froze. She looked at it, then at me, then back again. Her face drained of color. "No," her voice cracked. "No, please." I said nothing. She opened it with trembling hands. Her lips quivered as she read. Tears welled, fell. "I can explain," she whispered. I leaned back in the chair, silent, calm, my eyes on her like a scalpel pressed against skin. The silence was worse than fury. She broke, she begged, she confessed. It was a mistake. I was lonely. It happened once." Her words bled together. Lies stacked upon lies, desperate for oxygen. I watched her drown. Finally, I spoke. Quiet, controlled. "He wrote me a note." Her head snapped up. Fear widened her eyes. What do you mean?" I placed the red-stained paper on the table. Her breath caught. She reached for it. I pulled it back. "He knew," I said. "Our son knew. And now, so do I." Her body shook. She collapsed into the chair opposite me, hands covering her face. "I never meant for it to go this far," she sobbed. But I was done listening. The power had shifted. The house, the silence, the truth, it all bent toward me now. I stood, walked past her, left her in that chair with the weight of her own betrayal pressing down like a noose. I didn't scream, I didn't strike. I left her to suffocate under the evidence, her own imagination finishing what I didn't need to say. That was the revenge. I sat beside my son later that night. Machines hummed softly, keeping him alive. His face was pale, his chest rising weakly beneath the hospital sheets. I whispered to him, though he couldn't hear. "You tried to tell me. You carried the truth I wasn't ready to face. But I know now, and it's enough." I kissed his forehead. Outside, the night air was cold, sharp, cleansing. I walked away from the hospital, from her, from the ruins of the life I thought was mine. There would be no forgiveness, no return, only clarity. The last line of his note echoed in my mind, unfinished but complete in its silence. "Dad, the real reason, Mommy." Now I knew, and knowing was enough to burn the rest of her world to ash.